Own Way, the podcast with me, your host, Kori McClurg. All right, we are back again for another Get Out of Your Own Way podcast. And today we are so lucky to have the amazing chef, Caitlin Boyer. She is currently the director of culinary programs at Eat Your Own Way, which is a personal chef service in the Denver, Boulder area of Colorado. So thank you for joining us. I'm very excited.
Thank you, Corey. Excited.
Awesome. So I guess first let's talk a little bit about just what's your background? How long you've been a chef? How did that all come about?
Yeah. So it's quite a story. I'll try to spark note it for you. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel so thankful that I've always known that I love to cook since I was a little girl. Um, I have vivid memories of being like 10 years old and rushing home after school to watch Rachel Ray's 30-minute meals. And I would like take notes and then like make a grocery list so my mom could go and get things for me to make, fun, exciting new meals and I could test them out on her. And then, yeah, I just continued cooking for fun. And then when I was 12, I made just like the very conscious, compassionate decision as a child to stop eating meat because I loved cows so much. It really stemmed from, that's why I wore this shirt. This is my first activism shirt that I got when I was a kid. And yeah, I just kept learning and growing. And it was first like red meat that I wasn't eating. And then 2 years later, it was fish. And I was like very, very dedicated vegetarian at that point. And it's funny because I wasn't ever really a big meat eater, but my mom swears that all she ate was salads when she was pregnant with me. And so, yeah, from there, so that's like a huge part of really my culinary journey is, being a vegan chef, just starting out from a very, very young age and never looking back, just growing and learning more and, being involved. And um, as far as cooking, I was probably 14 years old, and my mom started signing me up for non-credit cooking courses at the local community college that we had in the little town Elgin, Illinois, that I grew up in, right outside of Chicago. And from like 14 to 18, I did these non-credit cooking courses, and we had a wonderful culinary program over there. And it was honestly like me and 40 to like 60-year-old men and women. And I learned so much, just technique. And I remember learn how to make risotto and learned how to do sorbet. Like there was a lot of cool things that I learned, and then I just took it with me. And I even like made my own little spiral cookbook when I was a kid. And yeah, so just lots and lots of passion, trying to learn as much as I could, reading lots of books. I go to the library and get cookbooks. And yeah, so it's just been in me for a long time. And then I started like working in the industry when I was 15. I was like in and out of, serving at like a Mexican restaurant, a pizza place. And then when high school was over, it was time for me to go to culinary school essentially. And I went for about a year, I want to say, and I was really excited about it. And the next semester, I was told that I had to break apart an animal and, learn how to, it was an already deceased animal, but I had to learn the ins and outs of like cutting the whole slab of meat. And I did not want to do it. My ethics have been so strong. It's been like my guiding force my entire life. And it's been difficult, but it's also who I am at my core. So I had to drop out of culinary school. And it was so difficult because I just wanted to cook so bad. And at that point in time, there really wasn't much to offer for like a strict vegetarian in the culinary world. So I felt lost for a while. And then on my 20th birthday, my mom got me tickets to a very life-changing and altering experience. The Chicago Botanic Garden was having a farm dinner, and there was this amazing chef, Cletus Friedman, and he is not vegan by any means, but he's all about sustainability and organic and sourcing everything local. And I already really resonated with that. So it was like you get a tour of the farm and you do, cocktails and appetizers, and then you go and you sit at this beautiful table that's set up and you do family style meals and the farmers get up and talk, and I could not believe what was happening and I just wanted to be a part of it. And after the event, I met Cletus, and 14 years later, that man is like family to me still. He's my forever mentor. I reach out to him all the time. He's absolutely incredible. And yeah, the day after I met him, I started working for him. Like 2 months later, he took me under his wing. And the first event I ever worked with him was Oprah Winfrey's producer's house. And we did like a private brunch or something for her and a few ladies. And from there, I started working in his deli in Ravenswood, a really beautiful neighborhood in Chicago. And then he had a catering company, and he was very respectful that, I was vegetarian at the time. So that was like a very life changing and fulfilling experience. And from there, I like started getting involved in farming, and I did like a whole summer on an organic, sustainable farm so I could learn. I think as a chef, it's really important to know where your food comes from, how it gets to your plate. So I started getting into that. And then I got a few cooking jobs. I was like in and out of like smoothie bars, making raw food, cooking in a cafe. I worked for 4 years as like a vegan chef. By that time, like 21, I was like completely transitioned to full blown vegan, never looked back. I got certified in plant-based nutrition through T. Colin Campbell's program with eCornell. Yeah, I started my business too around that time. I met a couple that asked if I would just come cook at their house, and that turned into such a thing. And I started making flyers and business cards and building a clientele with people that I knew in the area, and really just figured that out all on my own from trial and error. And then one more really amazing thing was, I always want to continue to learn and grow as a chef. I think it's really important. So maybe about 10 years ago, I reached out to a few chefs that I really admired, and I had an opportunity to drop everything and move out to Philadelphia and work under one of my idols, Chef Rich Landau of Veg Restaurant. And I did for like 7 months, went and worked for him, and still to this day have, keep in contact with him. And that was a great experience. Yeah. So it's just been a lot of learning and growing. And I did internships. I went out to Mendocino for an internship at Stanford and by the Sea. So yeah, I'm just very passionate and always learning and growing with what
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, now I'm out in Colorado, and I connected with you, and yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing we're doing big things together, but it just keeps
Totally.
continuing.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, I think it's a super unique thing. That you one identified so early, that what you wanted to do,
Mhm.
but also that you seem to kind of have this like you just like your pursuit of it has been so dogged. Like I find that people often, even if they get a glimpse, they kind of have a sense of what they want to do. They let a million different reasons like keep them from doing that. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
what do you think like what do you think has enabled you to feel like heck yeah, I can do this and there's no reason for me not to? Like
Mm.
what is in that, what's that thing inside you that just says,
Yeah,
"Yep,
I have
I'm
to.
I'm charging forward."
Oh, I mean, it's my passion. I have so much passion inside of me in regards to cooking, veganism, health, wellness, nutrition. It's just, I feel like I would be so miserable if I wasn't doing this. So I've just continually pushed and pushed. And I've also had like tremendous support from
Hmm.
a few of my loved ones that has really kept me going. And guidance here and there from the right people and just making the right connections. But really, it's just, I have such a drive and a passion. And it's like, sometimes like I just can't take no for an answer. Like, and this is
Hmm.
my life. And, we work most of the time. So I just want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to be fulfilled because life it's short and it's hard and it's like the glimmer in my day to day. That's why I've just continued to push. And if one thing doesn't work out, then I've tried something else and then I find something else and it's been difficult and it is a hustle, I will tell you that. It's not easy by any means, but it can be overwhelming and exhausting, but more than anything it's so fulfilling and I think that that's what drives me more than anything.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's
Hmm.
that like I said, that's so great. Like so many people don't have that. So that's just amazing that you are just this is what I'm doing and come hell or high water,
Yes,
this is it.
agreed, agreed. I'm very grateful that I've always known that because like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people who,
You
yes,
struggle.
yeah,
Yeah.
still like in their
Yeah.
40s or,
Yeah.
however old they are, they never found that thing. And my hope, like I hope everyone can find that thing in life that
Yeah.
gives them a spark that makes them happy and fulfilled and passionate and that they can do something with it, even if it's not full time, even if
Yeah.
it's just
Right. Right.
something that they do. Uh,
Yeah. Well, and my thing is like I feel like everybody probably has at least a little flicker inside them, but like
mhm,
they let a million other things, not the least of which
right.
is like their health, right?
Yes.
That gets in their way. Like you either spend so much time like worrying about being overweight or like, actually managing your disease, diabetes or heart disease or whatever it is. And so I just think it's so cool to really learn from somebody who's like, yep, I got the flicker and I'm just ready to unleash it on the world and nothing's gonna get in my way. I think it's
Oh,
so
thanks.
freaking cool.
Yep.
What do you think it is like what do you think it is that you love so much about cooking?
I love how it makes me feel. If I'm being honest, like it's
Uh-huh.
very therapeutic to me, even when I'm working, like cooking for clients or, like in a work aspect, it's still it's like therapy for me. It feels like I am where I need to be. It's where I'm the most comfortable. I love being creative, and I feel like cooking for me is such a creative outlet. I have like other creative outlets, but cooking, like, is by far the number one. I also love eating, and I love my favorite thing really about cooking. One of them is feeding clients, my friends, my family, and watching them take a bite and get so excited about the flavors and like that. I live for that. And I feel like food really is the best gift that you can give
Yeah.
somebody. So I'm just glad that I can give that gift to other people and share it with them.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um what what do you think is unique about what you're doing in the culinary
Mm.
world? Like what do you feel like is kind of your thing that you bring to the table?
Yeah, that's a good question. The two things that come to mind, I would say, is I think something really unique about what I'm doing is that I'm not just like, someone that's cooking plant-based food. I'm actually a very strict vegan who has lived this way for more than half of my life. I've lived it, I've breathed it. It's a part of my everyday and my heart and soul. So that really shines through in the food that I make. And I also think something really unique that I can do is, clients will come to me all the time with, just stories of having used just different meal delivery services in the past. And, maybe they aren't as flavorful as they wish. It's not enough variety. They have like a lot of restrictions or, food allergies or whatever. And that's what kind of sets my personal chef services and just in general, the culinary aspect of what I can do. People can bring me a laundry list of, I don't like these 25 things. I can't have these, six things. Here you go. And it's like a really great challenge for me. And I actually really like that. A lot of people are like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's such a pain. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I welcome this so much. Like, this dish that I would usually make with 10 of those ingredients, I have to be really creative and come up with something new to substitute all those options. So I think that that's a big thing
Yeah.
that I offer.
Yeah, yeah, you don't mind solving a problem.
Right,
You're welcome the challenge of
right,
solving that problem and getting to be creative in solving that problem. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is a unique thing, a lot of times, especially like in probably work life, people they kind of just want to be able to crank through, the same things all the time. But so I
Mhm.
think it's, yeah, definitely a unique mindset to think
Yeah.
like, hey, it's okay with me to personalize this because it, makes me
Mhm.
think about something different.
Mhm.
I think what you said is really unique about also that you've lived, you've been eating plant based for so long,
Mhm.
and and it's not a question, like you wouldn't deviate from that.
Right.
So it really, what I found, with you and other chefs, similarly, that only exclusively cook with plants exclusively, you can't just fall back into the old ways. You know what I mean? Like I've had so many times where I've hired a caterer or
Mm.
a regular chef, an
Mhm.
omnivore chef,
Sure.
and I think they just aren't as creative because they're used to falling back to the same like three or four things,
Right. Mhm.
whereas when you when you when you're like, I'm not going to do that, it forces you to be, in this different position of saying, I'm going to use the hundreds of tools that are at my disposal.
Right. That's true.
When
Yeah.
when you think about like literally the number of different varieties of edible plants versus like the edible animals, like there's no
Yeah.
comparison. There's like it's literally hundreds and thousands of edible plants
Mhm.
and only a handful of animals that we eat.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, I think that your kind of dedication to that has definitely, and your desire to do something different for people and give them custom things is really for sure a unique thing. Um, do do you think that's kind of part of why some of your clients have been with you for so long? And I mean, what's also interesting is you have so many long-term clients, but then you have new people like, knocking on the door all the time, right?
Mhm.
What do you think's driving that? Like the people that love you and stick with you and the
Mm.
new people wanting to
Yeah.
get your
What's going
awesome
on?
food. Yeah.
So I think I probably answered this question a little in the last one with the whole like, you can give me a list of things. People really love personalization, which that's like something I know that I'm good at, which is
Yeah.
great for what I do, right?
Hmm.
And I also think that people are so thankful to be, let's say they're working like 8, 10 hour day, 8 to 10 hour days. And just knowing that their fridge is full of fresh, healthy meals. Because most people that are in a pinch, me included, even though I'm cooking for people all the time, I'm exhausted at the end of the day. I don't feel like cooking like most people, right? And
Yep.
it's so easy to grab a frozen pizza or get takeout or, a less
Yeah.
healthy option, where you're going more into processed food because it's quick and easy. So I think that the service that I can offer is really beneficial to people's health and wellness and just sustaining in general, and I think that they find that to be really beneficial with having a personal chef, um, and then having the variety that they're craving, or like I said, like if they have allergies, like there's such a limited amount, and also I think I'm set apart from a lot of other personal chefs with the attention to detail that I have and the amount of options that I offer and personalizations. People really, really do like that. So I think it's a mix of like just having lots of great new food. I'm always getting creative, coming up with new things, working with people and their dietary restrictions, food allergies, all those things. And then also just giving people that calm at the end of the day and feeding their family, knowing that it's nutritious food and it tastes good. And yeah, so I'm very
Yeah.
well for all the clients, new and all my long-term clients.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking for myself, it is awesome to have a fridge full of great food waiting for you and not having to
Right.
worry about what you're going to do and
Uh-huh.
or feeling guilty because ordered DoorDash for like
Right.
third time that week or whatever. Yeah.
And I wanted to
Um,
say too, Corey, most of my clients are not plant-based,
yeah.
which is really awesome. They just
Yeah.
want to take their health into their own hands. They want to incorporate more plants. I never push like the vegan thing.
Yeah.
Anybody, I'm,
Right.
super non-judgmental and kind about everything. Um, but I always tell people like if you need to incorporate this, go ahead, like meat or cheese. And like 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10, people always end up telling me I didn't need to add anything. This fulfilled me.
Yeah.
I feel great. So I think that's another little cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Um, what, like, how do you think that, I mean, speaking from experience, like everything you create is really it's unique, it's flavorful, and you do that, I would say, in another kind of fairly unique way, which is you don't really rely a ton on processed food. I mean, most of your stuff is um, whole,
Mhm,
unprocessed kind of
mhm.
food. And like how did you develop that over, your experience of just like being creative with food and
Mm,
and just getting that sense of what things
mm,
might work together and
mm.
how did you kind of hone that over time?
Yeah. This makes me laugh a little because the first thing that comes to my mind is this is just in me. Like I don't know if it's like a learned thing, but I will elaborate on that in a second.
Uh-huh.
When I was a little girl, I started making my school lunches, I think in like 3rd grade or something. I was little, and I would get so creative, like olive and yellow mustard sandwiches, like barbecue barbecue, like cheddar sandwiches and wraps. And then like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I was taking soy milk and cereal and with like a ton of components with me, and I vividly remember people sitting around me and watching me combine everything at the lunch table because I was so excited about it. People are like, "What are you putting in your cereal?" It was like this kick I was on. So
Mhm.
with that being said, like I've always been an eater. I love experimenting with foods and flavors. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to do that. So I think that that's just something that's inside of me. But I do think, for people wanting to like hone in on that, just be creative and be adventurous and eat an olive with with yellow mustard. It's actually really good.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like we do weird little things that maybe you're not used to doing. So then your palate kind of opens and expands, and you're able to kind of be like, what's that? Your palate has all these different flavor profiles and
Hmm.
part of, your tongue. It's really fascinating. And I think I really just experiment with your food.
Yeah.
It's what I've been
Yeah.
doing my whole life. And I think that that's where that's originated from. It's just like
Yeah.
a lifelong,
Just not being afraid. Just not being
yeah, don't
afraid.
be afraid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um so what, I mean, so I'm really into, right, clean eating, as you know, and I
Mhm.
don't eat oil and sugar and stuff, and um I'm all about trying to maximize nutrients and minimize calorie density. And
Mhm.
what do you what are like some easy, or maybe not necessarily easy, but
Yeah.
it's great if they are, tips for people to just eat as cleanly as possible, like that, like to remove processed food, get more whole food in,
Mhm.
and still have a lot of flavor.
Well, I think the number one thing is get comfortable with reading labels, because if you pick up a jar of peanut butter and a box of crackers, it is most likely filled with those three things: salt,
Hmm.
sugar, and oil. So I think just knowing what you're putting in your body and kind of taking that power, knowing what you're eating is really important. And then, there's so many awesome alternatives out there. So I'd say like a tip for sugar, if you don't want refined sugar, like agave nectar and dates are really low glycemic, so won't make your blood sugar spike. For oil, if you're sauteing, you can use a little bit of balsamic vinegar, tamari, coconut aminos, vegetable broth. If you're baking with oil, there's things like applesauce and mashed banana and yogurt, even like a good plant-based sugar-free yogurt is a great alternative. And then salt, I do think, just as a chef, like salt a little bit really brings out the flavor in things. So when I'm cooking for people that don't do salt at all, I think it's really important to bring out the flavors of your dish in other ways by adding a lot of fresh herbs, or maybe more garlic or shallots or onions, or like a really good spice blend or seasoning. I am obsessed with Bragg's 24 herbs and spices. It's a salt-free, just comes in a shaker
Yeah.
seasoning. It's so good, and it
Yeah.
really can elevate your dish. So I think just experimenting again and adding in other ingredients to really elevate the flavor profile of
Yeah.
the dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of I like the Brags, but I also have this Benson's is the brand name. Table Tasty is the name of it,
That's
and it's like
right.
a, yeah, it's a little more, to me it has a slight acidic kind of thing to it. I think there's like
Mm.
some lemon in it.
Mm.
Um, so, and I don't know. I think sour is like next to your salt receptors or something like that. So like lemon is always one of those
Yes.
easy go-to things for me. But
Yeah.
you're so right. Like
Mhm.
one of the things I love to do is like if I'm gonna roast potatoes, I'll like lay some onion
Mm.
on the potato while it's roasting, so you get like,
The juices in that.
yeah, the
Yeah.
juices like get on there. And for some reason, it almost like makes it's makes the potato sweeter or something, like
Ooh,
it's
yes.
those interesting little combos that kind of like
Mhm.
give something else, a punch. Um, yeah, 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 yeah.
And nutritional yeast, we didn't talk about that.
Nutri- yeah.
That's great. Nutritional yeast
Nutritional yeast is
is
a,
amazing.
I feel like that's almost like cheating. That's like an easy go-to.
Right,
You just
that's
like dump that
true.
on everything.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, totally. So kind of on those same lines, you are working on a course, developing a whole course
Mm,
that's like meant to teach people how to cook more cleanly and just get more of those whole foods, into their diet
mm,
and give them the tools to do that. So since you've been diving into this
mhm,
course curriculum, what do you think is some of the like most surprising things for people
mm,
about getting, cooking more cleanly and just adding more plants to their diet? What
mm, mm.
like what have you found that people, you know, don't know, or things that maybe they think are so hard and they're
Mm,
surprised at how easy it is, or things like that?
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like people will hopefully see that it's fun, informative, and easy. All of those things put together. That's what my hope is. So I think people will be really pleased with the information that I'm giving them because I feel like there's so much information out there. It's like it's information overload. There's too much and it's overwhelming. And I just want to make things really easy for people and kind of meet them where they're at. So I feel like, I'm kind of giving just like a basic overview of a lot of different topics, but it's also extremely informative and it's like easy to ingest, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I want people to feel like enlightened and empowered when they're in the kitchen or when they're choosing, ingredients to use. Like, I'm teaching people how to read labels and even like I was just writing all about plant-based milks because I think that that's really important with like label reading too. And
Mm-hmm.
like I want to demo just like a really quick, easy way to make your own at-home milk without like the bags and without the equipment and
Yeah,
everything. Like you can actually
yeah,
make things really, really easy. And that's what I really want to do for people. Yeah, is just make things like palatable for them on many levels and give them a lot of little ideas. Like in the course that I'm writing about herbs, like I just kind of deep dive into here's all these things that you can do with herbs and sauces. It's all about a good sauce, like sauces and dips and adding it to soups and adding it to salads and here's how you pair them and um, yeah, I think all those things, just informative and fun and easy. I want people to be excited about it and I don't want to overwhelm them, but I want them to feel, like I said, empowered when it comes to making good decisions for themselves in the kitchen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you're hoping they're surprised by just how easy this all is.
Yeah. Yeah. And like,
Yeah,
wow, that's really great information.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
researched this and it says a million different things about this. There's just too much information. So I'm really just kind of doing the basics of all.
Boil it down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to make it
yeah,
just easy for people to take in and
yeah.
then do on
That's
their
awesome.
own too, because that's what the hope is to like teach them, give them, like the necessities, whatever it is. And then have them kind of go off on their own and flourish in the kitchen and know
Yeah,
how to shop and they can be creative on their own and maybe learn like a couple basic knife skills or I'm giving like links to help people. Yeah, just really want to help them in the kitchen.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, we still have a few months before it comes
Mhm.
out, but I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
Um, What do you eat at home? Like, what are your go-to dishes, that you eat on a regular basis and just kind of your tried and trues?
Mm, tacos. Tacos
Right.
tacos are so versatile too. Like I could do, I got my Instapot, like I'll heat up like a variety of beans and leave them whole, mash them, do a grain with it, saute whatever veggies I have, make a really good salsa or an aioli or something. Oh, I something that I make all the time. I crave like Asian cuisine a
Mm.
lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
Something really, really easy that I'd love to show everybody how to do. The sauce is made in a mason jar, so I just like put all the components in and shake it, so it's very easy. But it's just like broccoli and tofu and carrots, peppers, lots of basil, onions, and then I put in this delicious sauce that I make inside of the mason jar and then just let it simmer. And then I usually serve it over brown rice, but I've done it over farro or quinoa. Or some like good heirloom noodle that I can find. That's really good. And I love herbs. So if I could do like anything with a lot of herbs, I'm happy. I love my air fryer. It has changed my life. I have a Cuisinart. I know I've told you this, Corey. I mean it. It has changed my life. I have like a stainless steel toaster oven one, but it's so great when I've had a long day. I just go in my fridge. I'm like, oh, zucchini, pepper, tempeh, and then, an onion and a purple potato or something, and chop everything up, put it in the air fryer, go wash up, and then I have it over sautéed greens with some lemon on top, and I'll do like a little Dijon or something like that. And I love putting like toasted hemp seeds on everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I love
Like,
to snack. Like I love like a dip or like a tapenade with like Mary's Gone crackers. I love her seed crackers or flackers. Those crackers are incredible. It's just flax. There's no oil. It's
yeah,
very, very pure.
right.
And I've been making pizza a lot, homemade pizza, because it's so easy. And just loading it
Awesome.
with veggies and pesto that I make with basil and arugula and
Yum.
yeah.
What
So
are you doing for the dough?
so I use the jovial, the acorn, the sprouted
Oh, okay.
heirloom
Yeah.
wheat.
Uh,
It's so good and it's actually like sprouted, so it's really easy to digest and it's like low in gluten. So people that have like an insensitive
yeah.
or a sensitivity, I mean, might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
okay with it. But yeah, just an easy little recipe that I found, and it's like 15-minute rise with instant yeast, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yum.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing.
Sounds good. You're totally making me hungry talking about all this. That's awesome.
What are you making
Cool.
nowadays, Corey?
Um, it's kind of random. I mean, I've got like, I always have some kind of bean in the refrigerator. Like I'll do a big pot in the Instant Pot. So I have some kind of bean that I'll eat throughout the week.
Hmm.
And then same thing, usually have some kind of grain in there
Hmm.
in the fridge. Rice or oat groats is something I've been eating a lot of lately.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, just keep it in the fridge. And then I just, I've really been trying to pound the vegetables a lot lately, like just,
Hmm.
making sure that like most of my dish is some kind of,
Hmm.
kale or spinach or cabbage or just,
Hmm.
like
Just a loaded.
or like a kind of a stir fry, like mixed vegetables, and really
Hmm.
getting a lot of veggies in there. And even for breakfast, having my greens at breakfast.
That
Just like I love feeling like I'm getting my veggies in like all day long. So I'm
totally.
just getting all those nutrients all day long. Like
Yes.
I'm not getting any younger, so I only have a limited amount of time to get my micronutrients in there. So I gotta pound them in.
Gotta get them now. I
Yes.
to
Yeah.
elaborate on that too, I feel like a big pot of soup is such an easy way to get all
Yeah.
of your veggies and your greens in, and that's something that I love
Yeah.
about too. And
And a wide variety. You can
yeah,
like get such a wide variety in there. Yeah.
right.
You're right.
Soups are great. Soups, stir fries, tacos,
Yeah.
like you can and tacos, you don't even need
I
a
know.
tortilla. You can sometimes I do bib
Yeah.
leaf lettuce or
Yeah.
big red leaf lettuce and roll it up. Like I
Yeah.
really like doing that kind of thing too. So I'm not
Yeah.
eating so many carbs because I really, really love carbs.
Yeah.
Most of us
Yeah.
do. It's hard.
Ca-
So it's
carbs in and of themselves aren't bad for you. You know,
yeah,
whole carbs are great. Like whole grains are great. It's those pesky refined carbs that are nasty
sure.
for you anyway. So,
Thank
you know, you eat your carbs.
you.
You're just fine.
Thank you. Gotta switch it
Oh my.
up.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I think this is great for people to hear like your whole story and just how passionate you are about cooking and how creative and um so yeah, and I'm so excited for the cooking course to come out. Like
Me too.
I think it's really going to be good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's really going to be good.
I think so too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Caitlin, and I look forward to
Alright.
seeing you soon.
Yeah, I will see you very soon.